it was incredible. It was, oh, I don't want to cry. Hello everybody! So today I am making a video talking about my labor and delivery because my little son, that's my baby, and I had him about almost 3 weeks ago. So he's not quite a month yet. He was born on May 6th, 2016. And yeah, so I'm going to tell you my story because a lot of people ask me and I like to not repeat myself. And I'll show him in the video a little bit later. I'll like have him up and stuff. He's sleeping right now, so I don't really want to bother him. But through my pregnancy, it wasn't the easiest or the hardest either. I guess I would kind of explain it like pregnancy. It's really, I think everyone's pregnancies are different. I didn't really have too many complications, but I was achy, my back really hurt me. I have really bad knees, and so my knees were like extra painful. I was achy a lot, and it was kind of, I don't know. What was really cool though about my pregnancy was it was really life-changing for me. I really think through those 9 months I really opened my heart and my mind up. And I think overall it made me a lot more peaceful and a lot more calm and not so on edge all the time, because if you know me, I tend to be a little like I stress over things and I have really bad anxiety, and yeah, so I don't know, I've been really a lot more peaceful and a lot more calm through this whole process. But towards the end of my pregnancy, I actually developed high blood pressure, like extremely high blood pressure, and it wasn't like preeclampsia, what it's called when you just get high blood pressure during pregnancy and then once you're done being pregnant it goes away, which is what happened. But I went in for my doctor's appointment like usual, and my blood pressure was really, really high. It was like 160 over I don't know what. And then the normal is like 120s or so. So my blood pressure was at 160, and my doctor was like, oh, okay, this is like really, alarming. So they do tests and stuff on you, and the tests weren't coming back like, oh, preeclampsia, but they weren't coming back negative either. So they were like kind of floating in the in-between. I had to start going twice in 1 week instead of once a week, because in the end of your pregnancy you have to go once a week. Each time my blood pressure was just high and high and high and high. I was hospitalized a couple times because of it. I actually had to stay for 3 days once because my blood pressure was so high. My doctor had told me that he was going to induce me if my blood pressure kept going. And this was around 35 weeks of pregnancy. And the blood pressure kind of just continued on, through the pregnancy. And once I was 37 weeks, I went in for my appointment like usual. My blood pressure high, just how it was. And I always had to be connected to this thing called an NST. I was connected to this machine that monitors the baby's heart rate and my contractions. And on top of the high blood pressure, the baby was having dips in his heartbeat. It was going from like 150 down to 100, and 150 down to 110, and it was like dipping a lot, and the doctor didn't like that. So right away he sent me over to the hospital to be induced, and I was exactly 37 weeks. My husband Victor had to go home, get all the bags, get everything, and we went to the hospital. So what they did at the hospital was they inserted this little tampon like thing, and it goes up your cervix and it softens it and dissolves, I guess, and it hopefully makes you progress. So I started at 1 centimeter, and that insert made me get to 3, and pretty quickly too. So they were like, oh, this is great, like, okay, you must be going quick. So then they started me on this medicine called Pitocin, which is supposed to be extremely excruciating, and it makes your contractions awful and brings labor on so fast and stuff. And so they pump it up, like they started at a low dose through an IV, and then they bring it up and up and up. And through the night, I was having contractions, but I wasn't feeling them at all, because you know, you're connected to a monitor, so it shows you like that you're having a contraction. But I did not feel the contractions. I just knew I was having them. So they left it in overnight, and through the night they ended up putting the Pitocin to the max dosage. And once they did that, my contractions did not do anything. They were still, you know, mediocre, so that medicine did not work for me, which is pretty rare. And it only brought me like a centimeter more when it was connected for hours and hours, so it should have been like, you know, it should have progressed me a lot more. So once they heard in the morning, the doctor decided to break my water, and so they go in with this little sewing needle-like thing, and they pop your water. It doesn't hurt at all. It just feels like you're peeing yourself for a really long time. And almost instantly, I felt the contractions. So this is the first time I was feeling them really. They were intense and awful and the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Yeah, and so I was only at 4 centimeters, so I can't even imagine what it's like later on. And I wanted a natural delivery. I wanted to try and do no epidural, but that went out the window once I felt the pain. So for about 30 to 45 minutes I was having these contractions, and they got so bad I couldn't talk through them, and my mom and my husband were in the room, and I had to have them completely quiet. I had to close my eyes, and I was like so on edge. It was like crazy. I'm never like that. I was so angry, and so, oh my god, I feel so bad. I was so angry and just so like, don't talk. And then my mom would like laugh at that, and I'd be like, don't talk, and I'd like get all mad, and oh, it was so horrible. And so the nurse comes in and tells me, okay, so the anesthesiologist who gives you the epidural, they were only available right then or in 2 hours. And I was like, hell no, I'm not going another 2 hours, you know, with this pain. So I guess I have to take it now. I took the epidural, which did not hurt as bad as I anticipated. Everyone has horror stories about it, and it really wasn't that bad, and I'm a wuss with pain, so I don't know. I think the scariest part was knowing that this man could paralyze me right now. I couldn't feel anything. Epidural worked amazingly. Couldn't feel my body, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. It was the craziest thing. What happened was I went from 4 centimeters to 10, which is your goal, you know, you gotta be 10 to push. I went from 4 to 10 centimeters in 2 hours, and that is like unheard of. That is like very, very quick. So my epidural was like still pumping strong by the time I was at 10, and I was like, I feel nothing. I felt no pain. I was like insane. I literally went almost completely painlessly through my entire labor. Just those 30-45 minutes of contractions, but that's it. It was amazing. So my doctor comes in, and he's like, okay, we're ready to push, and they're bringing in everything. And me and my husband are like really scared. We're like, oh my god, this is happening. Like, in just a little bit, I'm not going to be pregnant anymore. We're going to have a baby. The doctor was telling me like, oh, you know, the average time pushing is about 2 hours, because you have the epidural, you can't feel anything, so just remember what it feels like to push. And I was telling him, I don't know how to push. I can't feel anything. I don't know how I'm going to do this, you know. So he was like, oh, just, you know, try, blah, blah, blah. And he's really a great doctor. He was very calm. So we, you know, lifted my legs. Didn't look like my own legs because I couldn't feel them. It was the creepiest thing. I had Victor on one side and the nurse on the other side. And it was only Victor and I in the room, like, out of family and stuff. They just told me to, like, start pushing, and you have to hold your breath for 10 seconds. And I felt nothing. I did not feel the pressure. I did not feel like... It was completely painless. Completely painless. I guess I could feel that something was, like, exiting my body. But I couldn't... It was not pain. It just felt a little strange, I guess. You have to hold your breath for 10 seconds and push and push and push and push. And I was trying my best. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do what I think. The hard part was I couldn't hold my breath for 10 seconds at a time. I don't know if it was because I was pushing too hard or what, but I couldn't make it the full 10 seconds of holding my breath. I can make it to about 6. So I got to like 6 and I'd go and I'd keep going, and the doctor's face was just like stunned, and I looked at Victor's face and he was just like shocked, and the nurse, and I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, is my kid like coming out with horns or something? Like, what's going on? And the doctor said he could already see his head after like the first push, which was insane. And he was like, oh, he has his dad's hair. And so we both have brown hair, and the baby had brown hair, and the doctor was like, oh, I can see his head, and I was like, already? What the heck? And I guess Victor looked, but he said it didn't hit him until like later, that was like our child exiting. And so I just kept pushing, and my doctor was like, if you keep pushing like this, we're going to be done in like 20 minutes. And I just kept going. You know, I tried to remember my best what pushing felt like. I'm telling you, and I felt nothing. So it was like insane. And within 15 minutes, my baby was born. He came out right away. No wait time. He just popped right out. And it was incredible. It was oh, I don't want to cry. For sure the best moment of my entire life. It was insane. I don't know. I can't even explain it. They took him out and they put him like on my chest. They still had my gown on and everything, and they're like wiping him off, and he was so warm. He was like, not even warm, he was like hot. He was like really hot. And he had so much hair, and I was so thankful because I had tons of heartburn during pregnancy. You know, they say heartburn means a hairy baby. And so I was like, okay, my heartburn did not go to waste. Yeah, he was just on my chest, and he took like a minute or so to cry. But he started crying, and he got his color in him, and you know, and Victor and I are bawling our eyes out. We couldn't even stop crying. And then they took him to weigh him, and he was 6 pounds, 15 ounces, 19 inches long, and he was born at 5:35 p.m. I actually did tear a little bit. The doctor did not cut me. You know, I don't know what the proper word is, but he didn't cut me. I teared, like he said, the slightest bit, and I only got 1 stitch, where some people tear to their buttholes, and they like have to have stitches for life, you know. And right after I pushed him out, I asked, did I poop on the table? And they said, no, you didn't. I was so thankful. I was like, oh, I was so scared Victor was gonna see me poop. I actually felt so good that I was able to have visitors right away, and I called up my friends and I was like, hey, come over, like I feel fine. And the first people to meet him was my grandma, so his great grandma, and my friend Juan. And so our first night with the baby was really good. He was very, very quiet and very, very not cry-y. He doesn't cry very much. And so we would have to wake him up to feed him. I was going to say to eat him. We had to wake him up to feed him because he wouldn't cry to let us know. He wouldn't cry for a wet diaper. None of that. But he wouldn't eat a lot. He was not super good at sucking. So I started giving him his pacifier, and that worked really well. But since he was so small, his pacifier was like this big on his mouth, and it didn't really fit. So we just had to make do. But after the pacifier, he started eating better, and he would eat and feed him. And yeah, but his first night, he actually choked in his sleep, like on spit up, and I was like asleep, so I didn't really understand what was happening. I just know like the nurse ran in and was like turned him over and was like patting him on his back and stuff, and after that they took him to the nursery. They wanted to monitor him after that. Usually I only stay 24 hours, but we stayed an extra night because he was like just not eating great, and I was in a lot of pain in my back still. So we just thought it was best to be at the hospital where we can get, you know, that help, because here at our house, we live with Victor's parents, and there's 11 of us in this house, so it's pretty intense. So we just stayed at the hospital, had visitors, and, you know, did our thing, and that was pretty much it. And my recovery was very, very easy. I actually went out like the day we came home, I think, or the day after, because I felt fine. I felt honestly like amazing, and I am one of those people who like to go on Google for everything. And I would Google, like, what does labor feel like? What are contractions like? And, you know, what's the epidural gonna feel like? And everything. And you get so scared. You get horror stories and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be the worst thing ever. And to be honest, it kind of was. For that 30 minutes I felt contractions. But, I mean, other than that, it was virtually painless and amazing and peaceful. I felt great. I had an amazing recovery. I had a really good experience. And so people are asking me like, oh, what's it like? You know, what was the labor like? And I'm like, don't go off of my experience because I feel too lucky. I don't think everybody's that lucky. I'm not trying to brag. I really do feel blessed and really lucky. Now I'll show you the baby. He's still sleeping, but I'll show him. So right here, this is my son. I don't know if you can see him that well. He's sleeping. He's just snoozing. Yeah, if he was awake, I would hold him up better, but I don't want him to wake up too much. Having him home is a lot easier than I thought it would be. I anticipated, you know, something like, oh my god, the baby's quiet for 20 minutes, let me nap because I'm so tired, and all sorts of stuff like that. And it really isn't like that at all. He's very, very quiet. He'll cry when he has to eat a little bit, but he doesn't really cry for his diapers or being uncomfortable or anything like that. He likes to just sleep and sleep and sleep, and he's very quiet and very calm, and if we don't wake him up, he'll sleep for however long, really. Right now, he's eating about every 4 hours. He'll eat 3 ounces. I'm not breastfeeding because I didn't produce breast milk, just because of this thing I have. It's a long story. I can get into it another time. So he's bottle feeding, and he'll eat 3 ounces every 4 hours. Now he weighs 6 pounds 10 ounces. He should have gained weight already, the pediatrician said, but I don't know, he's just not gaining weight yet. And he's grown 1/4 of an inch, so he's 9.25 inches. And honestly, like, it's just a lot easier than I thought. Some moms I see talk about being, oh, sleep deprived, and oh my god, I can't handle this, and blah blah blah, and I just can't imagine that. I mean, I love this little guy. But he's like, he's a little boring because, I'll feed him, change him, burp him, and then he sleeps. That's it. He'll be awake sometimes, but he'll just kind of look at me, and I'll sing to him and cuddle with him and everything, but he really doesn't do a whole lot. He's very easy to take care of. Yeah. And I'm very thankful that I have Victor to help, because I grew up pretty much without a dad. I have my dad in my life, but he wasn't a dad, for those of you who have been through that. A lot of people in my life are single moms and are struggling, and I'm just really thankful that Victor and I are under the same roof and that we can take care of him together, because that was really important to me, that we're going to work through everything, and it's really hard to put into words. This isn't just like a mistake, I guess you could call it. Unplanned, but not an accident, if you will. He's definitely the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Oh, he's smiling. My baby. And yeah, so that's pretty much the whole video. I just wanted to talk about my labor and delivery. I kind of wanted to touch bases on having him home. So thank you guys for watching. I'm definitely going to make more videos, probably some updates of the baby and just some life stuff. Now that I'm a mommy, it's definitely my favorite job. So I'll definitely be doing more videos like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you can, subscribe. That'd mean a lot to me. And yeah, so I'll see you guys all soon. Bye. Bye bye. Goodbye, everybody. I love you.